Hey guys, this is probably the newest computer you're ever going to see on the channel. This is Jasmine, my Core2Duo E8400. Jasmine is something of a test bed. Anything I want to try out that it's a little too risky to do on my main computer, I'll try it on Jasmine first. Yeah, she's also very handy for transferring files to and from older systems. This motherboard has an IDE channel, as well as serial ATA. Now at the moment I have 2 hard drives in there. I've got a copy of Windows 7 Professional on an 80 gig drive, and FreeBSD 14.2 on a 500 gig. Now in a way you've already seen this computer on the channel. In my latest video on Windows 95, I actually set up a POP3 and SMTP email server. Now that was running on Jasmine under FreeBSD. So what I'd like to do today, we're going to update the BIOS on this computer with a little bit of a twist. But first, let's take a look at the board. As I mentioned, we've got a single IDE channel and several serial ATA ports. This computer currently has 8 gigs of DDR2 and a 3 GHz E8400 CPU. Now there's onboard video on this one, but at the moment I have an NVIDIA 4 gig video card in here. So if we bring up the specifications and scroll down to the section on the BIOS, I found something very interesting. Some of the older Intel boards gave you the option to customize their BIOS. And I don't mean just simply turning things on and off. I mean either adding new functionality or completely removing things from the BIOS. In this case, we have the option of adding additional languages to the BIOS setup. So let's pull up the Intel Integrator Toolkit, and we're going to customize this BIOS before we do an update. Now I've already downloaded a copy of the latest BIOS from the retro web. So let's open that, and we'll take a poke around in the options that we can change for this BIOS. So if this computer were going to be in a secure environment, and you wanted to completely remove the option to boot to USB removable media, this tool would let you do that. But of course, that's not what I'm looking to do today. If I bring up the languages option, we have an option in here for French, German, and Spanish. I don't speak French, so I'm going to remove that option. But I do speak German, so I'm going to add that in. And let's save our customized BIOS. Now I have a 512 meg IDE disk on module. I normally use it in one of my 386 computers. There's a copy of DOS 622 on there. So I can plug that 512 meg disk on module into this motherboard, and we'll simply copy this updated BIOS and the flashing utility to that drive. You could use a USB stick for this, but we have the option here to use an IDE drive, so why not? Let's rename that file so it conforms to the 8.3 DOS naming convention. And now if I reboot, let's take a look in BIOS before I change anything. There's every chance I might brick this board, so we'll have one last look just in case. Now this BIOS uses a 1280 by 1024 resolution that my capture card can actually pick up. And as you can see, we've got the option for the French language, but not for long. So let's reboot. And we're going to boot from that 512 meg disk on module with DOS 622. And here we are loading into DOS. And normally my capture card won't sync to a DOS resolution. DOS, and for that matter BIOS, are typically 720 by 400 at 70 Hz. This system seems to do something unusual with the resolution because the capture card seemed perfectly happy with it. So I'm going to use the Intel Flash utility, and we have to force that BIOS update. Technically, I already have the latest BIOS on this system. And I used the wrong file name there. Let's try that again. And immediately after pressing enter on this BIOS update, the system shut down. It was a little disconcerting the first time I experienced this. There's no warning at all from this utility. It just shuts down. But thankfully, a couple of seconds later, it powered back on and initiated the BIOS update. Now, normally I try to avoid BIOS updates unless they're absolutely necessary. They really can go horribly wrong. But this time, everything seemed to work. We're back in BIOS, and indeed, French is gone, and we've got the option for German. Now, was this really a necessary update? No, by no means. I just wanted to see if it was possible to remove French from the BIOS and switch it over to German. At some point, I may do a video entirely in German, possibly for our 100 sub celebration. If that's something you might find interesting, drop a comment down below. Feel free to like and subscribe. And beyond that, as always, thanks for watching.